government doesn't care about you. That's why you need a medical emergency kit. It contains life-saving medications like ivermectin, Z-Pak, and antibiotics. Stock them before they block them.
Видимим стає те, що війна для Путіна не просто пішла не за планом, а вона веде його до колапсу. І ті пропозиції, які сьогодні має Україна за підтримки наших союзників, безумовно, шанс для Путіна, аби закінчити цю війну і фактично уникнути колапсу.
Zbrojení. Oni příští rok chtějí to navýšit na 1500 miliard dolarů, takže jako ta atmosféra je, všichni mluví o válce, všichni mluví o zbrojení a zatím jsem neslyšel slovo mír teda včera vůbec.
I know, a lot of people don't agree, although I think with time they're starting to agree. Turkey has been a great ally for us. Turkey could have gone on the side. They know Iran very well, and they know the problems with Iran. But they've been very instrumental, along with a couple of other countries, of helping. They could have gotten into the fight. And I hear some people saying about their relationship with Israel. They could have gotten into the fight. They're a very powerful military nation. They didn't do that. Maybe they didn't do that because of me. But they could have gotten into the fight on the other side. They are a nation that's been very, very good. It would be a good time for President Zelensky and I to meet, and we'll see what we can do. But we've actually developed a good relationship. It's hard to believe, right? From the Oval Office to now, I think we've developed a very good relationship with the United States. But it's not important for Denmark. In fact, when Denmark was overrun by the Nazis in less than one day, Hitler beat them out in one day, took over. They asked us to take care of Greenland. In fact, we took Greenland, and then stupidly we gave it back. We shouldn't have given it back to them because we're the ones that need it. We need it for protection of the world, not just the United States. A couple I don't like much. But I like Erdogan. I'll tell you, I like President Erdogan. He rolled out the red carpet. He's terrific. He could have gone into the war. A lot of people saying, like with Bibi, I like Bibi. I think Bibi was a terrific wartime prime minister. But Bibi said rough things yesterday about Turkey and Erdogan. And I said, I spoke to him. I said, he could have gone into the war because he doesn't like Israel much. And he doesn't like Bibi much. And he didn't go because of me. And this is a military power. Millions of soldiers. Turkey is very strong. They have a lot of our best equipment. They're trying to get the F-35s. But he didn't go in. He would go in. If it weren't for me, he would have gone in. And he would have been on the other side.
Europe, are you comfortable with licensing that technology?
About what?
Patriot interceptors to be made in Europe.
And you're talking with respect to Ukraine. Well, we're going to talk about that. Look, it's a defensive weapon, which I like, better than an offensive weapon. We've settled a lot of wars, and this one is the one that I thought maybe would be the easiest. But Putin's a difficult character, and this guy's a difficult character. It's not the easiest thing, and there's a lot of commitment, which they have every right to be. And so we hit him very hard last night, very, very hard. Probably hit him hard again tonight. I'll give him a little warning, we're going to hit him hard tonight. But we'll see how it all works out. No, I'm not happy with them. It's like, for instance, we'll have a meeting and we'll talk about, it's brutal. The other's the beauty of it, I think he'll build a great country. I think he's going to build it. We have a little stake in that country now because we have some land in that country, but we have minerals. It's among the wealthiest, it's among the best land anywhere in the world for rare earth.
As far as I'm concerned, conflict.
Look, they violate the agreement every day. They lie, they cheat, they kill people. Road to a nuclear weapon. They'll never build a nuclear weapon under our deal, but I don't know if we're going to have a deal. We may just do it without a deal. Because you know what? It's easier. Because these people,
What does
they
that look
lie
like
and they cheat,
specifically?
and you have an agreement, and they'll go outside. For instance, they agreed, well, we'll never have a nuclear weapon. They agreed. Then they go outside. Equipment, and you don't need elite equipment necessarily for a war. But so one of the things we're going to be talking about is we're going to give a license to you to make Patriots. That's pretty cool, right? This way you can't complain that we're not giving them enough. It's say, make them yourself.
Welcome back to the SCIF. Wow. What's that quote from Ferris Bueller's Day Off? Life moves pretty fast. You better watch out or you might miss it. Something like that. We are cranking all night long here at CDM. We have a full staff in the Middle East, which will be visiting in Beirut here shortly again. And we have a full staff in the UK. You've met many of them on I said UK, on the continent and in the UK. You've met many of them on our Eurobytes podcast. So much going on. The ceasefire is blown this morning as of last night. Well, it's been over the last 24 hours. Iran struck some tankers with 3 of them with projectiles. Trump responded by cutting off the oil sales globally, and then a massive strike into Iran. All this is timing, right? I mean, you've got the NATO summit, which is wrapping up, which is really interesting. So I want to take a step back in this whole show and kind of talk to you about what is going on. We put out something yesterday, which I think is spot on, about the British Empire, the old British Empire controlling a lot of this stuff. And if you look at Iran continuing to poke Trump to keep him in the fight, if you will, and also the British Empire behind Ukraine. So you've got pressure on Moscow right now. That's undoubtable with their long-range strikes into the country and around Moscow. It's causing a lot of issues in the country, but the battlefield is continuing to progress in Russia's favor on the ground in Donbass, which we'll talk about with Pete Blaber. Erdogan is rising to the place of prominence. You heard President Trump in the opening talking about Erdogan and how he loves Erdogan, but Bibi not so much. So I find this really fascinating, and we're going to get into all of that. Check another one you may have seen in the cold open, which I don't know if I played it or not, but the Czech president and Trump had a very tense handshake. But you did hear in the cold open the Czech president talking about, everyone's talking about war, but nobody's talking about peace. I think there was some conflict there with President Trump. I want to say hello to the crew in the chat. You're cleared hot. Let's get rolling. Check out whatfinger.com, great third-party aggregator site. So the ceasefire, and Trump is going to give Zelensky Patriot missiles. He's going to give our technology to the guy who's destroying Christianity in Central Asia and Europe. Wow. Not happy about that one. We've got a great show today. Jeff Buongiorno is going to, Buongiorno, I should say, is how you say it. I just remember Bongi. I can say it right. He's going to join us in the second segment. We're going to talk about what the hell is going on in Palm Beach. Wow. The epicenter of election fraud is in South Florida, my friends. right where we have a paper, the Miami Independent, which is becoming very, very, very impactful. We'll discuss all of that with Jeff here shortly after the break. And then Pete Blaber, all you guys have been waiting to hear Pete this week and his take on everything, what's going on. Wow, let's do the mission brief real quick, and then we'll jump into everything. Today is July 8th. I'm your host, Todd Wood. Here's your mission brief. The MOU is over in Iran. Russia and Ukraine trade strikes. The UK defense budget clown show. I want to relate all of that to what we're seeing. USAF engineer cuts down flock cameras and gets arrested, raises a lot of money on GoFundMe, and NATO summit vibes. All right. All of this is coming. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere on the SCIF.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our biggest Made in America sale ever. We just put huge discounts on products made right here in the USA. MyPillow bed pillows, body pillows, go anywhere pillows, bolster pillows, all made with my patented adjustable fill. Mattresses, mattress toppers, mattress pads, adjustable bed frames, mattress foundations, and so much more. All made right here in the USA. And now we're expanding our USA products beyond just quality sleep. Like the cross I wear every day, now available in both men's and women's. We even have USA-made socks. And are you tired of being tired? Try our new health beverage, Rev 7. Or how about my coffee, the greatest coffee ever. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to get deep discounts on all these products. Plus, for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
Divorce is tough, but your finances don't have to be. I'm David Cross, and I'm a certified divorce financial analyst practitioner. My job is to help you get a fair financial settlement in your divorce and to guide you to smarter money decisions. Find out how we can help you. U.S. Asset Management. It's your money.
A warm welcome here at the National Press Club. Welcome to the journalists, welcome to the Embraer team, and welcome to the other guests that we have here. We're going to announce, and as some of you guessed it right when they came in, the first E2 order by an American operator. And that operator is Avello. We believe this is really a strategic shift to unlock profitability for the customer. I'm very pleased that we have Andrew Levy here as the CEO of Avello, and I'm very pleased to give the stage to share a little bit more about what Avello is going to do with the E2 195. Thank you very much.
Couldn't be more excited to be here as part of this historic announcement. We have such a great cultural fit as companies, so we're very, very excited to be Embraer's newest customer. We launched our airline in April of 21, and our target is focusing on small secondary airports of large metro areas. We've carried over 8 million customers since we started on 63,000 flights. And we've done all these things with 1,200 of the greatest crew members I could ever imagine having, and many of them are here with me today. This is the right airplane for us. It's going to open up opportunities for us that no other aircraft can serve. The best thing about the airplane, of course, is you will not find a middle seat on this airplane. It doesn't exist. We won't have any to offer. It's going to be the best cabin in the United States, and we're so excited about that. This is going to elevate our experience to the highest level, and we think our customers are absolutely going to love the airplane.
Fighting soldiers from the sky, fearless men who jump and die, men who mean just what they say, the brave men of the Green Beret, silver wings.
Welcome back to the SCIF. You know, I can always tell when we have a controversial subject that the Matrix doesn't want you to hear, because the X participation drops from, close to 500 to 27 right now. So, I must be having Jeff Buongiorno on this morning. Good morning. How are you doing, Jeff?
Yeah. And, I showered this morning, so I don't think it's the stench that's keeping them away.
Oh, my. What the hell is going on in Florida, my friend? There's so much coming from you that I can't even digest it all. Tell me what's going on in Palm Beach.
Yeah, it's a fire hose of information. And basically what Chris Gleason and I and you know and others have laid out is it's unassailable evidence of that there's a subversive group of actors who are engaging to undermine our constitutional form of government. And you know, this starts, you know, I hate to say it, but the governor has a hand in it. Yeah. And it goes down to Cord Bird, who is the Secretary of State, Maria Matthews, and it's downstream to these local county GOP, you know, the Palm Beach County Republican Executive Committee, which is, I think, the original trigger to have me on, where I don't know if that article ran yet, but you have this, the chairman, Carl Cassio, who is, you know, basically, he's working, you know, against the will of the people. And, you know, we always hear this term, you know, well, leadership wants this and leadership wants that. Well, I threw leadership a big curveball by running for Florida House District 89, which is the only a +1 Democrat district. And the Palm Beach County Republican Executive Committee could not or did not make any effort to run a candidate. So I hopped in on Thursday, the day before the filing deadline, at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, 2:47. Another candidate, Steve Byers, he delivered my paperwork to qualify. And approximately 43 minutes after I qualified, another candidate qualified from Palm Beach County, but the documents came in from a woman called Noreen Fenner. That's a very important name. Noreen Fenner, Fenner. And her company is it's PAC FM, and I think that's the website, PAC FM. If you Google Fenner and PAC FM, you'll see exactly who they represent. They do the campaign treasury reports, and they're taking in the big dollars to keep their candidates and to keep Tallahassee locked up. If you look at all of the candidates that they're basically funding through their, you know, network of money laundering schemes, you'll see all the usual suspects: Wilton Simpson, Gates, you know, Mike Caruso, all of these people. So by dropping in last minute, what happened was 43 minutes later, this woman, Noreen Fenner in Tallahassee, dropped the first half of the document package, and the cutoff was the following Friday, okay? So this is Thursday afternoon. Now, Friday at noon, everything ends. The qualification period is over. At 11 a.m., I get a call from Carl Cassio. He's the chairman of the Palm Beach County REC, which is he's basically my arch enemy, and I've been calling him out since he's been, you know, chairman. I sent him a nasty text on Mother's Day, Happy Mother's Something Day, and he calls me 3 weeks later, you know, trying to be my best friend, saying, well, you know, the leadership is behind this Kathy Higgins. Now, no one's seen or heard of Kathy Higgins in 6 years. She was the mayor of a little town that was just incorporated in Palm Beach County called Atlantis. I think there's like 112.3 people in the whole town. She's been out of politics. Now, all of a sudden, she drops in. And Cassio says, listen, you're not going to get any support from the REC, which, number one, what the people have to know who are members of these GOP committees is that they can support candidates in their personal capacity. So if there's one thing that everyone takes away from this hit is that just because you're a member of the REC, it doesn't mean that you can't support a candidate of your choice as your personal capacity, not as an REC member. So what he told me, which was very telling, was he said, well, we'll find you a spot next cycle. I'm like, well, what does that mean? You'll find me a spot? Dog catcher? Or how are you controlling things?
Somewhere where you can't cause any problems.
Exactly. So by dropping in, they all expected me to run for Congress. And, I did not do that. I'm running for House District 89. It's +1 Democrat. And, I see the fraud. Wendy Link has still not provided the statutorily required reports that are needed to certify an election. And Chris and I just totally exposed the judicial system in Florida, from the local counties, the 15th Judicial in Palm Beach, to the 4th District Court of Appeals. Now, quick story. Mike Caruso, and this goes to the Florida swamp and how DeSantis kind of moves his pawns around through appointments. Caruso turned out of being a legislator in the House. So right before he turned out, he appointed him to be the Palm Beach County Clerk of Courts. Now, this is just as my appeal for my election challenge is going from the lower court to the 4th District Court of Appeals. What does Caruso do? He redacts 35 official filings from the lower tribunal case. All of the damaging evidence he withholds. Not only that, he changes the capacity of Wendy Link, who is being sued individually as a candidate and as the supervisor of elections, according to the statute. That's how you do it. You also include the canvassing board. He removes the personal capacity part and he files. He also left the prior judge from the 15th Judicial, Judge Cheeseman, as the judge of record. But she was disqualified after, we did that hit on in early July. We had the Kangaroo Court evidentiary hearing where the Palm Beach County Sheriff, who was acting as a bailiff, practically dragged Chris Gleason out of the witness stand when we started talking about log file reports. All of the unassailable evidence is the log file reports, which they refused to give. So here you have Palm Beach, you have officials that are redacting records. It's all about the records. This is all their own documents that they either they're altering them, which they have admitted to doing, or they're withholding them. And so this is the Palm Beach swamp, and you're right, it's the epicenter of election fraud, and it's actually the home of President Trump. And he sits back, hey, he's doing his job, whatever, and I'm not gonna, I have TDS now, Trump disappointment syndrome. Yeah. He hasn't done anything as a local, citizen. He's the most prominent citizen, the most prominent resident in Palm Beach County, and he's silent on it. And his tax dollars from Mar-a-Lago and his golf courses, they're funding all of this.
Yeah, it's wild. Yeah, I don't know. We're getting close, man. 4 months to go. How do the midterms look, do you think? They
look rigged as ever. Yeah. We're bringing legal action now. We have I've run the gauntlet through the Florida Supreme Court, and it's judicial jujitsu. Say that 10 times fast. Where so I filed what's called a writ of mandamus. That basically is you just give the flat black letter law the traceable duty, and you say, hey, it's a ministerial duty, and they haven't performed it. Court, please fix it. What do? They want no part of it, like it's a hot potato. They kick it back from the Supreme Court back down to the 15th Judicial and to the judge who I had disqualified to rule on. So how do the midterms look? They looked rigged as ever. And we're building our case. And I have a law firm that wants to work with us. They've been successful in the Supreme Court, and they're willing to play ball. So we need to raise money. I mean, there's no point in donating, and I mean, I'm not going to say don't donate to candidates, but we need lawfare to fix this. Okay, it's the only way we're going to dig our way out of this. We need strategic planning. I had a case in front of Judge Aileen Cannon in federal court, which I'm prepared to bring back with new evidence, which will, get me back in front of that, hopefully that same magistrate based on, certain rules of federal court, because she's familiar with the case. So that's what I'm working on now. I'm working on getting the word out there, showing the unassailable evidence and how they're kicking around our cases, Chris is included too, like a hot potato. and they're basically denying us of due process and also, our right to redress our grievances. They had me thrown out of the canvassing board meetings, and they told me never to come back for this whole election, and they can't do that. So that's the basis of my claim. And it wasn't only myself, it was like 4 other people. And they also are mischaracterizing statutes. They're using statutes that say, well, if you want to challenge someone's right to vote, it's under a certain statute, 101.111, and you have to fill out a sworn affidavit. Now, when you have official campaign designees that have a legal right to audit records, they can challenge signatures. What Palm Beach County did on their actual form, okay? They have a form where you fill out and you challenge a signature. They cited 101.111, which means you're challenging the person's their jurisdiction to vote at all. They're not a resident, they're not a citizen, or they're a felon. And they twisted it to say, well, if you challenge the signature, you're challenging their right to vote, which isn't true. And they even threatened criminal complaints. They filed 2 criminal complaints against me for extortion. Can you believe that? The county attorney of the supervisor of elections filed complaints against me for extortion because I was trying to get records out of him. His name is Stacy Manning, and he's since resigned as the Palm Beach County in-house counsel for supervisor of elections. So good things are happening. We just need to keep the pressure on the people, on our elected officials, by the people.
Sounds like you need a lawsuit against him, against Palm Beach, and get it settled, and that'll fund your big lawsuit, man. Prosecution.
No, well, that is the premise of the lawsuit. It's called a Monell claim, and I have 7 co-plaintiffs. And what a Monell claim means in quick 30 seconds or less is that the county is depriving rights, and they ratify it into policy. Okay, so that's basically by putting the letterhead on the statute that's mischaracterized, they're ratifying that into policy. As one simple example. You need a lot more than that, but that's where this is going, and they're so desperate to continue to conceal the fraud of the subversive actors who are undermining our constitutional form of government that they're stopping at no lengths to do so.
Wow. So what's next specifically for you?
Next specifically for me is, well, tonight is the Palm Beach County monthly Republican Executive Committee meeting, which I'm going to walk in, and it's going to be, it should be interesting.
Well received, I'm sure.
Well received. Yeah, there's, there's a lot going on, and we talked about these appointments, and we just the appointments we need to shed light on that, because now the former chairman of the REC, Michael Barnett, who's like a do-nothing attorney for 10 years, and after 10 years, you're eligible to become a judge, was appointed to the 15th Judicial Circuit just a few months ago by DeSantis. And now he's the chairman of the Palm Beach County Canvassing Board, which, by the way, I understand that CDM Media will be covering all of these canvassing board meetings, which they refuse to live stream. The school boards, all 7 districts, they all live stream. The board of county commissioners, they live stream. But when you try to record or take a picture in a canvassing board meeting, you're threatened, you're arrested, or you're dragged out with an arm bar, like Mary Frey on September 25th, 2024, where there was a internal affairs review, and the officer was suspended for doing so. And to really put the icing on the cake, the documentation will show that a special detail was in play. And the defense attorney, his name is Greg Schwinghammer. He's the outside counsel, not Stacy Manning, different lawyer. He just happened to be present at that September 25th, 2024 canvassing board meeting when this citizen, Mary, was dragged out in an armbar, and they physically ripped the wristband off of her and the badge that had her picture on it, which citizens are forced to have their picture taken, and they're given an identification badge, like they're tagged like cattle. Okay?
Wow.
And they can't do that. They're not allowed to do that. It's an open public meeting, okay? Under Florida Sunshine Law, it's 286.011. And, you know, you have Carl Cascio, who is basically running cover for the supervisor of elections. And as we know, Cascio is the chairman of the Palm Beach County Republican Executive Committee, which flows downstream from our buddies Evan Power and Gruters up at the Republican Party of Florida, the RPOF.
What else do you want to get out? How do people help? Where do they go? Where can they help you?
My website is my name, jeffbuongiorno.com, or Vote Bongi, Bongi, votebongi.com. Takes you right to my website. I want to raise money for legal fees. I'm not going to run ads on the radio and Fox News when I know this thing is rigged. We need legal. We need lawfare, and RPUF, that was lighthearted. I'm kidding around. There might be some good people, but they're not really working for us. And we need to know that these committees, that folks, they're bright-eyed and bushy-tailed. They go in, they join, they want to help, and they wind up 2 months they're out. If you looked at the records of who joins these clubs and quits, it's astonishing. If they were able to retain all of those members, they need something like 2,200 to actually fill all the seats. They have less than 250. So they're working at whatever percentage that is. It's ridiculous. And they want to keep the local GOP committees subdued, and they're basically under leadership capture. And that's the messaging. We need to take back the county. As the nation will follow Palm Beach County. It's a subversive group of actors. We have unassailable evidence. We just need to get it in front of the right judge and present the right package, and we'll have meaningful impact across all 3,000 plus counties.
Outstanding. Thank you so much, Jeff. Really appreciate it. We'll have you back.
Good to see you, Todd. Thank you.
Take care. Ciao.
Take care.
Every day, your data is being tracked, collected, and sold, often without you even realizing it. Big tech companies control your devices, your apps, and the information you share. From your messages to your browsing habits, everything is being monitored and stored. Over time, we've traded privacy for convenience, and most people don't even question it. But what if you could take that control back? That's where Mark 37 comes in. Mark 37 provides privacy-focused phones, laptops, and tablets designed to give you full control over your digital life. With secure systems, expert support, and simple tools, they make it easier to step away from constant tracking and data collection. Because privacy isn't just a feature, it's a fundamental choice. It's about protecting your data, your freedom, and your future. Take back control of your digital life with Mark 37.
And by the way, I wanted to say I'm starting my journey with Sean. I'm going to be getting a Ghost phone and then upgrading to a Ghost computer soon, because I am going to unplug for the Matrix. And you can follow me along on my journey. So mark37.com/CDM is where you want to go to do that. Find the webinar, sign up for the webinar, and learn everything you need to know to get started. And then you can also sign up for a free 30-minute consultation on privacy there at mark37.com/CDM. But I'm looking forward to it, and I have been worried about privacy for some time. So I'm going to be taking the plunge and changing my life and unplugging from the Matrix, and I'm really looking forward to it. So maybe you can join me.
Through the pandemic, we can never be caught unprepared again. And so many Americans, when COVID hit, they had nothing in the house. Stores were shut down, and doctors' offices were shut down. And even if doctors prescribed drugs, hydroxychloroquine, ivermectin, pharmacists wouldn't fill the prescriptions. That was a nightmare.
Now the situation is much worse. We have these horrible supply chain problems. In our emergency medical kit at the Wellness Company, we have 8 prescription drugs that are all potentially life-saving.
Most people who died with COVID, they died in the hospital because they didn't receive early treatment.
Every American family should have one of these.
I can tell you the Wellness Company kit is the answer.
With my 35 years of experience, our team at US Asset Management can deliver professional investment management, financial planning to help you target your goals, and even specialized divorce financial analysis if you need it. We are here to help you make better decisions with your money. Call US Asset Management today, and let's get to work in your financial future.
Welcome back to the SCIF. A couple housekeeping on the advertisements. Mark37.com/CDM has a sale going on through tomorrow, I believe. 10% off if you use the code July4. That's all caps July and the number 4. So July4, all one word, is the promo code for Mark37.com. You get 10% off through tomorrow. So today is, next 24 hours is the last day, I guess. Also, the Wellness Company, twc.health/CDM, promo code CDM. Check it out. Spend some time on the site because I'm telling you, there's a lot of really good stuff there. I flew down to meet Dr. McCullough last week and spoke to him a lot about different things and all the different products, and they're all very effective. I can vouch for that. We've used many of them, and we're using them now. And I want to just highlight the Wellness Company's Contagion Kit. Everything you need for any kind of respiratory ailment, nebulizer, steroids, drugs. The medical emergency kits are fantastic. Check those out. I use the travel emergency kit on the road all the time. The weight loss has been a big one. Their products, GLP-1 enhancers and other things that they have, which doesn't destroy the muscle loss. So check it all out. Just spend some time on the website, twc.health/CDM, promo code CDM, and you'll get 10% off. On that note, I want to play something from Dr. McCullough, which we've done before, but I think it's really impactful. So this is about their product Regenerate, which is how to get rid of that inflammation in your body. So here we go. I'm honored to be back with a friend of the show, Dr. Peter McCullough from the Wellness Company. Doc, thanks for coming on today.
Thank you.
So I saw something that you put out, and we have some people on our team that were really involved in Lyme disease early on and got it and were persecuted really for saying, I think I have Lyme disease because it has all these other symptoms that docs didn't really want to treat. But you said something recently that almost everyone has markers for this. Tell me about that.
Yeah, we've been shocked to see that, over time, it looks like all of us get a tick bite of some sort. And there are certainly tick-borne diseases, Lyme disease, babesiosis, Rocky Mountain spotted fever, and others. But what's unique about Lyme, the organism Borrelia burgdorferi, is that it installs certain antigens in the body. One of them is called opsinin A that cause chronic illness. There's no doubt about it. People develop chronic Lyme. And, the key is to treat it very early. In fact, in the Wellness Company, we have emergency medical kits that have doxycycline. There's a protocol. If you get a tick bite, within a very brief period of time, if you take doxycycline, you're fine. But once the Lyme organism is installed and we start to get Lyme disease, it causes a skin rash, Todd. It looks like a target, like the red target shopping store. Yeah. So my wife had it. She actually developed a target. And where the tick usually bites, believe it or not, is the back of the arm. It's a place you can't see. And that's exactly where my wife got it. And so it forms a target. And if you treat it right away, in that case, we used 2 antibiotics for my wife. Again, problem solved. But if it's not detected, weeks to months later, there's joint inflammation. It gets into the brain, causing all kinds of neurologic problems. It gets into the heart and actually causes heart block, which requires a pacemaker. That happened in my wife's cousin. People live in the Northeast originally, is where it was originally described, but Michigan, loaded, Minneapolis, Minnesota, and even down through the central Midwest, including Oklahoma and Texas. My wife got it in Texas, actually. So the key thing about Lyme is to make sure you have an emergency medical kit from the Wellness Company, recognize a tick bite early, follow the protocol, take doxycycline to knock it out. If one, it develops clinical Lyme disease. Oftentimes 2 antibiotics are needed. Again, that's covered in the wellness company kits. Chronic Lyme disease is a problem, and that's the reason why there's been attempts on vaccination. So there was a vaccine several years ago. It was partially effective to prevent the first case of Lyme, but in fact, it caused post-Lyme syndrome, including joint symptoms, and now a new one recently on focal points. And again, it was partially effective, about 70%, but seemed to cause joint aches. And so, we don't want to give a vaccine to a well person and end up with a post-Lyme-like syndrome. So that's where we are right now. I still think it's about prompt detection, early treatment.
Interesting, because my son had it, and we didn't realize he had it because he didn't get the target. One of my other children had the target, but he came in one night in the middle of the night. He was like, I don't know, 6 years old, walked into the bedroom, and my wife and he's like, do you see that bed? It's coming after me. And he was hallucinating.
Yes.
So it was in the brain, right?
Yes.
It's really,
in the
really
brain.
scary.
It's scary. Gets in the heart. An example, my wife's cousin needed a pacemaker. I mean, it really is a real syndrome. And, medical professionals for the longest time denied it. There was a great controversy of whether or not there was a post-Lyme syndrome. Linked to this can be chronic fatigue syndrome, neuropathies. And finally, all the medical societies agree there is a post-Lyme syndrome. It's a legitimate diagnosis. And once we're past the phase where antibiotics can use, most of this is dealing with the body's reaction to the Lyme antigen and forms of detoxification.
So let's talk about that. Inflammation is a big deal. A lot of, especially older people, have it. A lot of the stuff there, the treatments that come out today are just to mask the underlying problem. Talk to me about inflammation, please.
So true. Inflammation is what makes our joints sore and stiff. And as we get older, sometimes it's frankly painful, but a lot of times what I think, Todd, is that I just feel old, like my knees feel old. And the big innovation from the wellness company are forms of peptides. Now, peptides are less than 50 amino acids in length. We have a topical product that's wonderful, particularly for the knees and the hands, elbows, and that's called TheraBlue. TheraBlue features several peptides as well as botanicals, menthol, and actually methylene blue. That's the reason why it's called TheraBlue. It actually looks like a blue cream. You rub it into your knees and elbows, hands, and boy, does it work. I mean, it's miraculous how much better you feel when you use TheraBlue. It comes in a pretty big pump canister. So I think twice a day on TheraBlue for people with chronic joint ailments is wonderful. And now we have a systemic approach called Regenerate. Regenerate is leveraging topical drops, and we can use up to about 30 drops in a cup of coffee or just a small shot glass or 2 of water. And Regenerate contains 3 peptides, one commonly used, BP157, that's 15 amino acids inside, KPV, 3 amino acids, and TB500, 7 amino acids. And there's a special aquasome technology that allows these to get into the system. This is wonderful because it's not a drug to cover up pain. It's not a genetic treatment. These are peptides that have a very positive function in the body, and then they're disposed of through our typical reticuloendothelial system clearance. So these are a breakthrough. People who want to fundamentally improve their musculoskeletal health. It's also very good for the GI microbiome.
So if I'm correct, I'm not a doctor, but these are like building blocks that your body can use to repair itself. Am I right about that?
Absolutely. So the body, it stimulates repair. That's exactly what they do. They stimulate repair. They do tend to block various inflammatory programs. There is a whole process called epigenetics where certain factors turn on genes, and those genes produce inflammatory factors. So you have to have inhibitors, and a lot of times that's what these peptides do. There's more and more research suggesting they're very beneficial. The best thing about them is safe. They are very safe. I worry about my patients taking the heavy-duty anti-inflammatories. For instance, my mom has arthritis, and she takes meloxicam, which is a prescription non-steroidal. It's in the family with Motrin and Aleve. And boy, I tell you, it causes stomach ulcers and kidney problems like there's no tomorrow. And I'm greatly worried about meloxicam, Bextra, these types of drugs. I think the safest over-the-counter anti-inflammatory is actually naproxen sodium, the blue gel caps. Well, that would be Aleve or the generic form, which is the same. But it's in a gel cap. This is very important because you want the pain relief quickly, but you don't want the tablet to lay against the stomach and burn a hole in the stomach and cause an ulcer. So I never take Motrin tablets or Aleve tablet. If I have a bad headache, I'll take 2 of the blue gel caps. Naproxen sodium blue gel caps. You can get them anywhere.
Interesting. So there's no really, I guess, side effects of some of these peptides you're talking about?
No.
Okay.
No, they are free of anything concerning whatsoever. And, they take time. I tell everybody, listen, these are, products that are natural to the body. Give it a good 6 to 12 months and see if that back stiffness and hips and knees, especially the deeper joints, that's hard to get to with various forms of rubs. And I'm thinking about the lumbosacral spine, the hips, deep into the shoulders. People should consider Regenerate. You can only do so much with physical therapy and then the over-the-counter anti-inflammatories. They have their role. And certainly if there's terrible pain, you can't sleep, you can take 2 of them. But you want to fundamentally improve the problems, fundamentally make the joints better. The 2 products are TheraBlue topically and Regenerate by taking oral drops.
Well, thank you. You answered those questions, but I would be remiss if I let you get away and not giving me an update on some of the vaccine problems we're having. I know young women who can't seem to have a child. I mean, cancers, all of that. What's the latest that you're seeing on the, the side effects of the COVID vax?
Well, the first thing we're seeing another marketing campaign for more boosters. And the name of this campaign, it comes out each year. This one is called Cicada. And it's a new version of COVID resistant to all the other vaccines. And I bet there'll be cicada vaccines in the fall. You mark my words on this. Remember, last year it was razor blade sore throat. Cicada are those giant bugs that emerge in St. Louis and Kansas City. They make so much noise. They're about as big as your hand. And cicada means rebirth or resurrection. So it's almost as if those promoting the vaccines want a re-erection of a very mild illness. Over 90% of us have had the illness. We don't have to worry about it. 81% took a vaccine. Most people are not taking any more vaccines. But what is emerging is an understanding that the vaccines stay in the body a very long time. Pfizer and Moderna now 3.5 years in circulating in the bloodstream. Spike protein it produces lasts again for many years. We need the ultimate spike detox from the wellness company. This is the go-to product. 2 capsules twice a day is the labeled dose. For severe cases, I commonly, under doctor's direction, 4 caps twice a day, delivering 16,000 units of nattokinase a day. A year or more on this to drop the spike antibody levels. You can measure those self-directed at LabCorp. The next product we have, which is a global detoxifen, and this is one I definitely recommend for those who've had Lyme and COVID, is the Ultra NAC. So this is N-acetylcysteine, zinc, selenium, molybdenum, and very importantly, milk thistle, liposomal glutathione, and quercetin. So I read those small fonts without glasses. I'm feeling pretty strong today. But these, Todd, these are wonderful supplements. They go together. It's a natural approach. We advise people to sweat because we know the vaccine and the spike protein comes out in sweat. Right now, these are the leading approaches for people to get through these pandemic syndromes.
Very interesting, Doctor. We'll have you back. Thank you for your time and really informative. Take care.
Thank you.
All right, I just wanted to add a comment there. We have some people in the Lyme community inside our network, and many of them disagree with his initial comments that doxycycline can handle Lyme if you take it early enough. So I just want to throw that out there. There's some disagreement among the Lyme community about that, and actually some pretty passionate disagreement. So just wanted to say that. We're going to take a break. We'll be right back. Stay with us.
time ever, we're bringing you My Pillow mattresses and mattress toppers for as low as $99.98. Remember, sleep's all about temperature and pressure points. Whatever sleep needs you have, we have the right technology for you. Like our My Pillow mattress topper, our queen size has over 10,000 individual comfort supports to help relieve your pressure points. And how about our 3-inch Hybrid Plus mattress topper? It's infused with copper and silver to help your body get the restorative sleep it needs. And our My Pillow and Case Coil mattresses, I personally helped develop these mattresses to make sure they have everything needed to give us great sleep. Plus, they're made right here in the USA, and they ship right to your front door, absolutely free. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to get MyPillow mattresses and toppers for as low as $99.98 and free shipping.
I'm watching my friends gain more and more weight, and then eventually I got to tell you, this is a little dark, but bad diet literally killed my whole crew.
Wow.
Diabetes, a stroke. I mean, all kinds of stuff. It's like, you had a stroke? You're not even 50 years old. You guys got to quit eating this stuff. Your body knows what's what. You're not conscious of this. But that's why people will go to the refrigerator and they'll grab this and that and the other and put together this outrageously elaborate combination of foods. Your body's trying to reach balance. Unbeknownst to us, our bodies are always trying to reach homeostasis. You can't eat all of this stuff and expect to live a long time. And one thing led to another, and I went, forget this. We're going to make our own product. So we partnered with one of the world's top 3 biochemists where nutrition-specific study is concerned. I said, all I want is the best nutritional and immune support product in the world. So we mixed it in yogurt. It's a powder. I got a bag of it here. I keep one on the console all the time, just so I can show people.
Yeah.
And it's a powder. Now, this is not candy. This is hardcore nutrition. And sugar is an enemy. And most people do not know that the reason these bellies are showing up on people all over the place, your body makes fat to store the toxins it can't get rid of. So it just puts them over here. But I can tell you this, you take this for 30 days and then lay off of it for 2 or 3 days, and you'll go, good grief, give me some more. Skin, nails, hair growing back, cut yourself and it heals in half the time.
Put silver wings on my son's chest. Make him one of America's best. He'll be a man. He'll test one day. Have him win the Green Beret.
Okay, don't go anywhere. Top of the hour, we got Pete Blaber. Everybody's been asking when Pete's coming back, and we've got him in a few minutes, so don't go anywhere. I want to talk to a few stories before we get there. Trump declares the Iran MOU is over and hits hard 80-plus targets in the Strait of Hormuz area, and the IRGC struck U.S. targets in Bahrain and Kuwait. It looks like most of those were intercepted. We don't have confirmation on that, but you got to connect all these dots, right? And we're going to try to do that today and connect everything that's happening with the NATO summit, with Ukraine, with Israel, with Iran. All this is connected. Turkey, and I think you're having a battle behind the scenes between different clans, and we'll try to walk through that in a minute. But I just want to run through these stories real quick. Here's another one. UK Parliament debates the new budget, which Starmer is promising the moon as he walks out, and it's just, and it's still not enough to correct the UK military. So why is the UK military being allowed to atrophy? That's a big question, and I want to dig into that with Pete Blaber a little bit later. I just wanted to throw that out there as a data point. On our Eastern European site, Zarism.com, Ukraine strikes 19 Russian Shadow Fleet tankers in the Sea of Azov and around the Black Sea. And Russia hits Ukraine hard, Kiev, with targets, ballistic missiles, etc. And you saw Trump talking about the Patriot missile licensing, which I'm not happy about, but we'll talk with Pete about that also here in a second. Also, the flock camera stuff is not going away. You know, I didn't even think about that. That is straight out of Animal Farm, the flock, and how we're going to control you and surveil you. It's really similar to Dominion. I mean, think of this. The name choices are obviously, they're mocking us. But there's an Air Force engineer who was cutting these down. He got busted, and he's got a GoFundMe. You can find this article on armedforces.press, our military channel. And then the last one, I put this out yesterday. You know, I'm good at spotting trends. When I was on Wall Street, I never could day trade, but I could definitely spot trends, and I was usually right. Problem is I was usually too early. So that's kind of been not our issue at CDM, but our the iron around the ball and chain attached to our leg is we're always early. And then everybody comes out with breaking stories 2 years later that we reported 2 years ago. But, you know, we'll take it. So I put this out yesterday. The Mockingbird media has simply shifted to podcast world. And I'm not, pushing the Zionist agenda. I'm not happy with foreign interference in the U.S. government and in our defense establishment. But it's very obvious there's a coordinated campaign going on to silence, or to not silence, but as Susan Kokinda said yesterday, and by the way, I'm going to have her on next Wednesday, so stay tuned for that. It's going to be a powerful interview. All of this is being coordinated, and it's, in my view, and in what she says, look over here at Israel, but not really the big plan of what we're doing. It's almost like the globalists are throwing Israel under the bus, and they did that earlier with this vaccines. Everybody there has been, jabbed like 10 times with the associate consequences of heart problems, and they've suppressed that as well inside Israel. So I just wanted to point that out. We'll talk about that also and how that all ties together. But all these, that story is on cdm.press. I'm just going to play a quick video and then we'll go to a break. But this is what we put out. Let me find it. Here it is. I put this out yesterday on Ukraine. I want you to be aware of that. Oh, I got to press the button over here. Hold on.
Ukraine. Let's connect the dots. First of all, Ukraine is building a mercenary army. The white Christian male population of Ukraine has been depopulated intentionally. Kyiv officials say foreigners may rise to up to 50% of the Ukrainian armed forces. In addition, Ukraine wants to build a robot army. Ukraine is the largest standing army in the European theater. A mercenary robot army led by a dictator who is destroying Christianity in his country, a literal human sacrifice ritual. What could go wrong? At CDM, we believe the Ukrainian army is being constructed to be the enforcement arm for the globalist EU Fourth Reich. Have you noticed the military spending across NATO has been allowed to atrophy? Perhaps this is what Trump is fighting. Perhaps he knows. We hope he does. Until then, we will continue pointing out the dark nature of what is happening in Ukraine. There is something really dark happening in Ukraine. Let's
wasn't a product that was developed and to sell, really. What it really was a journey to get me well after my experience trying to immigrate and get married to an American citizen in order to get my green card. Towards the end, they send you for a medical, and that's where they sat me down and gave me 16 vaccines in one sitting. At the time, I knew when I was going through it that it's probably not good, but I didn't realize that I'm about to go through the worst health experience of my life. And that's when I went on this journey and understand that nutrition is actually your medicine. I've always heard the old people say your food's in your garden, but we didn't get it. And your body is always trying to heal itself. I mean, when you cut yourself in a couple of days, it heals. And that is the process of homeostasis. Your body is always every cell in your body is always healing itself. And just like anything, if you bake a cake or you build a house, you need the right ingredients to achieve the result. Now, if you don't have the correct nutrition and you're not eating the correct food, it's like trying to build a house without bricks. Now, a lot of people, they say, what does nuclear do? Nuclear itself does nothing. It's not designed to do anything. Your body does the work. it gives your body all the things it needs balanced in, and it works together to deliver the correct nutritional supplement that you need as a human being to function normally.
It's finally here, our second annual mega sale. This sale only comes around once a year, so take advantage of the best offers ever while you can. For example, save 50% on our Giza Dream bed sheets, as low as $29.98. And for the first time ever on TV, MyPillow mattresses and MyPillow mattress toppers, as low as $99.98. And you save 50% on our Lux Pure 6-piece towel sets. Regular $69.98, now only $39.98. And our best-selling standard MyPillows, regular $49.98, on sale for $17.98. Wait on it, mega sale, only $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our second annual mega sale. But wait, there's more. To make the mega sale even more special, when you order right now, your order's going to ship absolutely free.
Welcome back to the SCIF. Just want to give a shout out to MyPillow, MyPillow.com. Use promo code CDM. Don't go to the big box retailers. They hate you. They're buying their money or buying their product overseas for the most part, where slave labor and it's low quality. So go to MyPillow.com. See what Mike has on the site. Use promo code CDM. Don't forget that, and you'll get the best discounts. All right, I'm going to bring in Pete Blaber now, and let's talk Ukraine. Pete, how you doing, my friend?
Good. How you doing, Todd?
Oh, I've been busy. I've been trying to, I guess, really piece together the moving parts of this puzzle. And my sense is, Pete, this is a lot related. And I know we want to talk about Russia and Ukraine, but I see the UK continuing to, diminish its military. It seems intentional, Starmer for sure. And you have this huge army building in Ukraine, which I find disturbing. And then you got Trump coming in and say he's going to give Ukraine Patriot missile technology, which I again find disturbing. But I know you have a lot to go through. I'll turn it over to you, and let's roll.
Yeah, so I agree with most of what you just said. It's all over the place. It's hard to see the consistent thread of common sense that should be tying everything together. Yeah, and I mean, Ukraine came out 2 days ago and said, "Hey, we're basically out of anti-missile missiles," which I think Russia fired 400 missiles that night, and 400 made it through.
Yeah.
So whether they were being truthful or whether the Patriots are just not working, we don't know for sure. But this should not instill a sense of urgency. It should be another wake-up call that this country fighting this war doesn't have any weapon capability to self-generate on its own. And you cannot win that way. They can't win like being attached to the nipple of Western Europe and the US for everything that they're going to use. And then the next part of it is it just takes you into this hypocrisy where you're trying to deal with the Russians with, common sense and truth and saying, we really got to end this thing, but we're still giving key weapon systems to your enemy that will keep it going. So, I'm at a loss also on that part. I'm continue to, think positive. I believe the Dmitriev negotiations are still underway, going behind closed doors, so they're not sabotaged. But again, the Patriot thing gives me pause, and that just transitions us. We talked about Iran a a little more than Ukraine in the last couple of episodes. But in the last episode, we talked about the common pattern between the two. And, that is massive IO campaign. We're not seeing any of the reality of the situation on the ground, especially the civilian reality, the people's reality. We've tried to bring that as much as possible to Ukraine, but Ukraine right now is going through a massive IO op that is coming from Ukraine, but is backed by its Western backers in Europe and I'm sure, in U.S. money sources also who support the war. And it's another ill thought out campaign, basically a PSYOP directed at Western audiences. We've been flooded with social media. We're going to show you some of these in a second, that just paint this dire picture of Russia's military campaign while touting Ukraine's incredible accomplishments. And I saw a couple of familiar influencers on yesterday, one an ex-CIA, the other one of our favorite ex-generals. And all they could talk about was, hey, do you think this is an inflection point right now? Do you think we're going through an inflection point? As if an inflection point is a thing.
Like they're trying to create an inflection point, right?
Yes.
Look here, this inflection point.
Yeah, there was nothing behind the inflection point, like the fact that they've retaken this oblast, or the fact that Russia is clearly in retreat here, or that their oil revenues have gone through the floor, when in fact their oil revenues set another record last month. But it's just in your face propaganda. And, we've said this on past episodes, the best way to fight propaganda is to call it out while it's happening. And it's happening right now, and anyone can see it. Just watch, as you just pointed out, the echo chamber. It's 24/7 propaganda. A lot of it is about Putin's imminent downfall. They're back to focusing on Putin, to include staged videos. I think we have at least one of those videos of a fake Putin.
Well, I've got the Russians.
Yeah, it's the one. Putin is on the ropes. I think I sent you as the headline.
Yeah. I've got this one. We'll just walk through these. This one is Russia losses in Ukraine just past the Battle of Stalingrad. I don't know if that's the one. Air defense.
So and these are funny. So just leave these on a second, just to show how these are not well thought out. That either a bot is doing them or AI is doing them. Russia's losses just past the Battle of Stalingrad. So every statistic in here is just made up. They're ever since Ukraine went through those horrific months, which was earlier this year, where they were losing 1,000 soldiers a day, and it became known that Ukraine was losing 30,000 good men a month. Well, they just turned that back. That's now repeated over and over, that Russia is losing 30,000 men a month, that Russia is doing the human wave attacks, that they're losing more people than they are recruiting. And those are just falsehoods. Of course, the Putin on the ropes, also not true. There's another one about air defense. If you can show that one, it's also got some funny, where they say, that its own soldiers are shooting at Ukrainian drones with rifles and still missing. Well, anyone who knows anything about this war knows the most efficient and in many cases effective anti-drone weapon is a machine gun with a thermal sight on it.
Yeah.
And Russia, and I'm sure Ukraine has started doing the same thing. Russia has created this series of kind of home defense, neighborhood defense, where once they figure out the trajectory of a drone that's flying low to evade radar, they alert these communities, these sectors that have these mobile machine guns, and they go out on the roads and they take these drones down, and they've taken a lot of them down. So,
well, they're kind of, I read
they can't even get their propaganda right, but they're feeding it. You know, it's nonstop. The facts are false, and there's no counter. One of them, that first one on Putin, was from a former Secretary of Defense, and you open it up and it's Leon Panetta. And it, just what I said, instead of giving some facts about why Putin's on the rope, he just says Putin's boxed in and he's painted in a corner. So he uses two amorphous metaphors as his proof that, Putin's on the ropes. It just doesn't make sense, but you can watch it in real time. And folks, this is not, again, political. We can't have this. We cannot have massive false realities being propagated, especially false realities about situations where it's not hyperbolic to say we're at most a step and a half away from an accidental nuclear war or World War III. One of these long-range British missiles hits a target like Putin in his home or one of the other leaders, and you can't predict what Russia's going to do because they have every right to respond.
Which they're trying
that's the
to
kind
do.
of fire they're playing with right now.
Yeah.
And that's why these IO campaigns have to be looked at. First and foremost, we the people need to learn to see right in front of us this false reality that's being propagated. But the second thing is we need to start doing something about it because, we have an upside down world. It's hard to understand. You introduced this in the beginning, the reality of what's going on. Mm-hmm. So how can you have a position? How can you make a suggestion about what should happen next if everything you're being fed is a falsehood?
Let me just say,
again, back to all the articles. The propaganda consists of at least four things. I mentioned it: the information warfare. That's the 24/7 push of fake news. Then there's the fake psyops, which is just coordinated attempts to stage things like gas shortages and panic buying. And, because I watch some things on YouTube, I kind of like it because YouTube feeds me its propaganda too. And so I get a lot of these videos in my queue. And, one came up yesterday of a kid, literally a kid, he was early 20s, reporting from Crimea, saying the citizens of Crimea are all en masse fleeing Crimea. And of course, they weren't. This is what he was reporting. And about every third sentence, he mentioned the Russia-initiated invasion. But what they were doing at the time was practicing their bug out drills, their go to shelter drills, because Ukraine has started bombing Crimea. And then they take all these things, which includes some of the symbolic tactical actions. They've been dropping flags, which have been filmed by Russian reconnaissance drones. They drop a flag on a blown up building and say, "This is proof we've taken this sector, this town, this portion of the oblast." But those were quickly debunked because, like I said, they were filmed by Russian reconnaissance. So what they're trying to do is combine all these together and create this instability and pressure Putin politically, but more so keep the spigot open for money, because among all the other motivations you mentioned earlier, the money laundering is a huge part of it. And, that money that comes from Europe only touches down in Ukraine for a short period, then it gets distributed through the network. So why are they doing all this? What's with the political theater? It's just just intended to distract from what's happening all along the front. And that is not a pretty picture. And same thing I said earlier, that's why this is so damaging. We should know the reality of the situation. Good Ukrainian patriots are dying for no reason. And, the Pokrovsk axis is the main effort right now. Konstantinovka was taken 2 days ago. Putin actually flew there. And the strategic value of this, first off, it's the last part of the Donetsk Oblast that Russia needs to take to secure the Oblast and to have standoff district. But it opens up the two highways, I think 0504 and H32, that take you right into Kremorsk, Sloviansk agglomeration. And that will be what everyone agrees is the final block to fall that will just open the gateways all the way to Kyiv. I don't believe anymore Russia's going to go even entertain the thought of going to Kyiv. I think they're going to take the rest of the Oblast of Donetsk and then set up their buffer zone, and that'll be it. But that's happening all along the front. Dnipropetrovsk, major losses. Zaporozhye direction, same thing. So what we're seeing is this false reality. And do you have another shot? It's of some soldiers, Ukrainian soldiers walking along.
Yes.
That I think is pretty good. If you can play that one also.
Yes.
See if there's sound on there.
Добрий день. Можна вас запитати, ви звідки куди? З Констах. І що там?
Yeah, they're basically asking them, how's it going? And they tell you, don't go back there. It's all messed up. And, the translation, when you hear soldiers talk like that, they're talking about the plan, the chain of command. And what I was told, this is the fortress belt, part of the fortress belt. And so what's happening is the same thing we talked about in Pokrovsk. The Ukrainians are not allowed to do a flexible defense. They've been told, do not give up a single inch of territory. It's the same thing Hitler told his generals on the Eastern Front, and what led to 3 corps being destroyed by Russia. You have to move. You have to have the freedom to maneuver, even when you're in a fixed defensive position. And that's not happening. And that soldier, I thought that was an indicative moment where you heard from the ground feedback about the plan, the way things are operating. And as we've said before, thanks to Western influence, Ukraine got off to a really bad command and control start, which has just compounded over time. They still do not have that flexibility down at the battalion and company level that they need to fight a dynamic war like this, that really the main tactic you have to have in your quiver is the ability to adapt. And once you take that away with rigid plans and disconnected chains of command, you've taken everything away from your soldiers and their ability to win on the battlefield.
Go ahead.
Yep. So, folks, that wraps up our show for today. Again, you control your mind, not the other way around. When you hear news, whether it's on Iran or Ukraine, be very skeptical. Use logic and reasoning. If you don't see proof of it with your own senses, then you should be skeptical about it. And together we can defeat this massive IO campaign that's going on against us. And like I said, it's not about politics. It's about the survival of our species. We have to understand what's going on. We have to understand reality, and we can't have people creating alternate realities and trying to dupe us into thinking something's happening that's not. So
the
stay
audience
alert
is telling me,
and stay alive, and we'll see you next week.
The audience is telling me that he can hear me. So we'll be back tomorrow, guys. Take care.